Crosswind. It's an upcoming piece of pirate software that's not an egotistical, unapologetic internet sociopath ex-first second generation Blizzard employee.
There's me eating a sandwich. Yeah, that was actually a Blizzard.
But it is a pirate-themed crafting survival game being developed by Crosswind crew and is right now running a super early alpha playtest reserved only for the most dedicated members of their community and the best content creators on Earth. Being neither of those, I forgot my Steam account details and accidentally by pure chance logged into an account that just happened to have access to the Crosswind Early Access Alpha playtest, so I could provide you handsome viewers with this first impressions video. Now, as a massive fan of Valheim as well as physical and internet-based piracy in all forms, except this form, I've had my eye on Crosswind for a while now, so join me as we interpret my first couple of hours in the game to figure out if this could be worth our time one day as it continues development and gears up for a release sometime in the next year and a half or so. Alrighty, this is us, we're in. Holy sh... Oh, that's incredible. Okay, great, amazing. Dr. Galen. Oh my god, doctor, what are you doing here? I have been robbed. To eat food. Okay, we're eating. Wow, we ate the food and it did that thing. There he is. Okay, so what have we got here, man? New quest received. I need a bigger boat. Oh yeah, this is nice. Wow. After a brief intro sequence, we found ourselves in the most original manner ever conceived, stranded on a beach, and guess what? You're gonna pick up sticks and stones to kick off that journey of discovery and begin building your first base. Straight off the bat, I think it's worth mentioning that for an early alpha playtest, the actual feeling of the game it's already up there. I've got zero complaints with the way the game handles and plays, stability-wise, no crashes, decent performance, all this type of stuff. Nothing unexpected sort of happened that broke the experience. So if this is an indicator of quality going forward, I definitely think that the developers of Crosswind are off to an incredible start. You crabs. Holy sh! We just murdered some crabs. The combat itself does feel pretty basic, and as of right now, I feel like something like June definitely has better melee-based combat, so do with that information as you will. However, this is early days. Now, I'm not a strong believer that games should only get good after X hours. A game should be good and fun right off the bat. And I will admit, at first, I felt like the combat was a bit generic and unchallenging, but as time went on and the survival elements kicked in and the progression kicked in, I found myself enjoying it more and more. My current interpretation of it is that if the game is this stable, solid, fluid, and well built, and they don't have all these crashes and hiccups and problems in terms of, that side of the game, things like the combat are just a couple of tweaks away from being dialed in and becoming something pretty decent. I think they're just a few animations and tweaks away from making something that feels a lot better than the sort of stiffness that's in this early access alpha version of the game. Now, I think the most common comparison that will be made alongside Crosswind will be Valheim, seen as they share the same idea of islands where you develop and grow and build and progress through the game, and then eventually you're going to build boats and explore other islands and other biomes, which is, I think it just works so well for the survival crafting genre, right? And I think the devs have stated that Valheim is an incredible source of inspiration for them. Valheim's a game that's very near and dear to my heart, so I'm definitely going to watch this game's development with bated breath. Hopefully turn into something truly special. That being said, once you progress to a certain point, they just kind of give you your first boat, which I think is a bit of a mistake. I don't know if this is an early access alpha thing, or if in the final version of the game you're expected to build that boat, which I think will be much more satisfying for players. Having it just given to you kind of feels like you're a missed opportunity for achievement that you can finally now leave your first island and go off and explore and find new islands, right? So hopefully that's just an early access thing. And then again, the early game of survival and crafting and gathering resources and stuff feels quite generic off the bat. But my feeling here is that the way that you explore the new biomes and sort of hop from island to island, what it looks like is that you essentially start once you get access to copper, you start building these fast travel nodes so that from your boat, you can instantaneously travel to wherever you've built one of these nodes. So I think that you're going to essentially end up building like a network across your islands. And that might be that special ingredient that makes this crafting survival experience stand out from others, where you've got like a pirate network across multiple coves of bases where you're transitioning your resources to and from and developing and progressing through. There's potential there. Then you've also got these Blackbeard scouts, large vessels manned by insanely deadly crews of pirates, NPC sort of challenges that you can take on. The game does have co-op, four-player based co-op as of the alpha. However, I didn't have any friends super important enough to also have keys to play alongside, so I was at this completely solo. But this is what really gets me excited, is that you can actually board these ships and engage in piratey, slashy, shooty combat, and hopefully do some plundering and pillaging and ship sinking. However, I've not gotten to that point where I myself have the larger vessel, which I do believe you do have to make from scratch. So that having a goal like this, or something on the horizon to work towards, really does help make the game feel exciting and interesting, and that sense of progression feels incredibly meaningful and exciting. Because who doesn't want a freaking pirate ship to go freaking marauding with? I mean, come on, this is good stuff, guys. Ultimately, I don't know if the game has many plans at the moment for PvP. I've got two contradicting sources on this. There was a dev response to a Reddit post saying that they don't really have too much planned in terms of PvP-oriented gameplay as of right now. However, they do want to eventually develop some PvP-based gameplay. But for now, their development focus is purely on the co-op and solo experience of progressing through this awesome pirate world that they've got going on here. So from my perspective, I enjoy a good bit of PvP, but then again, a game like Valheim had no PvP or was not based around PvP. It was purely PvE progression, but the vibes of Valheim were just so good. Hopefully this game can eventually match that and become a challenge that players will enjoy to overcome. And I mean, hey, when was the last time anybody actually saw a good open world PvP experience, right? So time will tell, I guess. There's also a concept of Tortuga, which is going to be a player-based trading hub. I don't know if there's a version of that already in the game. I'm going to try and find it as soon as I can. Tortuga is supposed to be like a player-based trading hub where you can come and mingle with other players, and there's a bit of an MMO-light experience to be had there, which is kind of cool. I think if you've played Dune, this is probably going to be like Arakeen or Harko Village, right? In terms of a roadmap and what we can expect in future builds of the game, currently there are 3 biomes with unique resources, enemies, and bosses, which I still haven't come across yet. I'm quite excited to build my first large pirate vessel and go hunting for the first boss of the first biome. I guess that's how it might be structured, with another 2 new biomes in production and 3 new unique bosses. So it feels like a very much a Valheim-esque way of going from progressing from biome to biome and then tackling some kind of boss that will probably unlock more things that will provide key components to further progression. There are currently 3 playable ship types in the game, with another 2 in development, as well as 1 merchant ship type. So it sounds like there's quite a lot of variety off the bat there, but I just hope that all of these things have meaningful gameplay implications and reasons for existing in the first place. I need to spend more time in the game, and I'm actually quite excited to do so, and I want to see how this all plays out. So I'm definitely excited for future versions of the game. But ultimately, where I think Crosswind stands is it just a generic survival crafting experience adventure game with a shallow pirate theme slapped on top of it, or does the pirate theme contribute meaningfully to the game experience? So far, I think they're on the right track, and I think there are enough pirate-related elements and features that are genuinely going to make this game stand out from your average survival crafting experiences that tend to be a dime a dozen on Steam these days. Worth noting is that I'm coming off the back of putting a couple 100 hours into Dune Awakening, so for all intents and purposes, I should be feeling survival crafting fatigue. And the fact that Crosswind still managed to keep me invested after all of that, I think is a really good sign. So this is definitely a title that I'm going to be keeping my eye on, and I'm hoping the developers smash it out of the park. Thank you so much for allowing me into the early access playtest Crosswind crew. I sincerely appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members who keep this channel going. You can find the links in the description if you too want to help out and support the content. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, take it easy, see you in the next one. Cheers.